ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL today. We thought we were going to have one day, then we're going to have another day. Lots of big shakeups in the cable news, and we're going to talk about it because we're live, and that's what we do. Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. He was the network's top-rated host, but Friday's show was apparently his last. The company released a statement saying they mutually agreed to part ways. This follows Fox News' record $787 million payout last week, of course, in that defamation suit over its false claims of election fraud. Meantime, over at CNN, Don Lemon is out. Don had been in trouble recently over comments he made about women and when they're in their prime. We can all remember that. CNN made the announcement this morning and wished Don the best in his future endeavors. This is the tweet Don Lemon just posted like minutes ago. I was informed this morning by my agent I've been terminated by CNN. There was at no time I was given any indication that I would not be able to do this. There's some larger issues. So he's feeling he was let go without cause. What do we all think about this? Erica?
This has been a very eventful Monday morning. Yeah, I mean, literally, I've been looking. I was reading Don's tweet as you were talking about it because it's happening in the moment.
It is, and he didn't know he already had he did perform his show today, not knowing he'd be fired afterwards.
Right, and in both these situations, there's no way you can say, obviously, Don, it's not mutual, because he's saying it's not. I would assume the same for Tucker Carlson, simply because anytime you're told after a show that was your last day is not a mutual decision. The timing feels a little suspect, but when it started out with Tucker, which is what we believed was the story today, I wasn't shocked by that because he does make $35 million a year. This lawsuit was substantial. The settlement was substantial, over $787 million. So you have to recoup that cost somehow, and that's just a math equation.
And just so you know, I totally agree. That was a hit, but I also think there's Smartmatic is coming up with a lawsuit against Fox for $2 billion in the exact same way that Dominion is. And I'm wondering, was this him preventively getting out of there before more texts or more things came forward? What do you think?
I mean, at this point, it seems like it's over. Like, we already have the precedent. The initial judgment has been laid out, so it seems like Smartmatic is going to have a pretty easy pathway to getting a judgment themselves. I wonder if we're just seeing a changing day in media. If the idea that, yes, there was a period of time where a producer would be in your face, Jeff, in your ear, Erica, saying, you need to push this story, you need to push your narrative, you need to say what you need to say to get eyeballs and earballs, and it worked. Tucker Carlson was polarizing. He got people to watch. They would have guests on that would say things that were controversial, that would come out to be later false, and there was no, real pushback from that. They were allowed to continue on and continue on. Last week was maybe the end of that. Because I've always wondered, because we're very serious about if I misspeak, which I'll say, Carolina won the Super Bowl last year, and you'll be like, no, it was Denver. And we'll come back on the air and say that. I was like, how are these companies being able to get away with this? And last week we're saying you're not. And if you can no longer get away with hyperbole and flat out lies, you can't run the risk of having like Tucker Carlson cost you another $1 billion because Fox got money, but nobody has. I can absorb billions in losses. The NFL can't eat that.
$2.7
so
billion.
Fox News, I think they're just saying we have to change this model. We don't know what the model is going to be yet, Jeff, but it can't be this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's a gigantic lack of trust in media these days. I know, of course, from my side, right? I say both sides if you want to look at Fox and whoever like that.
Right.
I think there's some bias that go on everywhere, maybe some more than others, but definitely a bias. I wonder if somehow the networks got together and like, we got to clean house. We need to clean up this reputation. We'll get rid of Tucker. You got to give us somebody. Give us a Don Lemon. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a GM is like performing this. Like, we'll give you Tucker and $500 grand, but you give us Don Lemon. Right. You got to fire him today. So I wonder if
they had to do it at the same time.
There is a coincidence about the timing.
So I wonder if really, I'm joking around here, but I wonder if it's something with the reputation of all news organizations. And they're like, we need to clean house a little bit. We need to get the people's reputation back. Elections coming up. We need to earn back our trust, and maybe some of these moves, which are big moves on both sides, will help do that.
Interesting. Let us know what you guys think. We're literally in the middle of the story, so we will update you whenever we know. Obviously, Don Lemon feels his wasn't just. Tucker is consciously uncoupled with Fox. All right. Is everything becoming too political? That's the question we're asking after former NBA coach, Phil Jackson, said he has stopped watching basketball altogether. He said during COVID lockdown and following the murder of George Floyd, players wore jerseys with slogans, you guys remember, right? Like justice, equality, which he said was turning certain people off. Here's how he explained it in his own words on a recent podcast.
They even had slogans on the floor, on the baseline. It was catering. It was trying to cater to an audience or trying to bring a certain audience into play. And they didn't know it was turning other people off, you know? People want to see sports as non-political.
ESPN's Jalen Rose released a video hitting back at Phil. Take a look.
The same Phil Jackson that won championships with some of the greatest black athletes in the history of the game. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, made millions on their backs and off their sweat equity. You're sitting up watching a game with your grandkids and y'all think it's funny when justice passes the ball to equal opportunity? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So stop watching forever.
Al, sports lover, NBA lover, Phil Jackson, how do you feel?
Not the first time we've heard this. Phil famously had some things to say about LeBron's management group that's around him, Maverick Carter. He called them his posse, which is a loaded word. Phil Jackson has had a number of these incidents, and first of all, for this to come out now was very strange. And for him to say that that's what turned him off from watching basketball after we just watched a man's life extinguished in broad daylight. Like, that's what really took him out of there. The world calling for mercy, basically, and for us to treat each other like human beings. You're unable to watch a basketball game. I think that says a lot. And it's also his right. If you don't want to see equality or the racial equity, if you don't want to read those words because it somehow takes away from the three-pointer you just watch go in, don't watch. But it's just the idea that you would spend so much time and have generational wealth in your family because you arguably coached the 4 greatest black men of all time, maybe of any sport, in their prime, Kobe, Shaq, Mike, and Scottie, and you have an issue, Erica, don't watch. But again, they never give the money back. It's always just the issue.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, go on record and say my daddy, Roosevelt Cobb, has always been right about Phil Jackson. We used to sit around, like the whole family, Big Mama, rope 'em, Michael, rope 'em. Like, that's what she would say. Like, everybody would sit together, and my dad has always had this opinion of Phil Jackson.
Really?
There's a certain breed of people who are very comfortable being the beneficiaries of a winning empire, no matter what anyone looks like. But they're not comfortable when those people have a voice. So it's okay when those black players are underneath you, but when you're the former coach, now you have an issue with this because it's not the brand that you want. How about evolution? How about evolving into caring about people more than just chattel or how much they can put into your pockets? Because I guarantee whatever home that they're living in right now, watching that and laughing and mocking was the home that all of those players helped build. So the idea that their lives and their activism is of no importance to you and it's a joke to you, yeah, my dad was right.
Coming up on DBL, it's the end of an era. Bed Bath & Beyond has filed for bankruptcy. It's the 4th B. Could other retailers be next? And our incredible conversation with the first conjoined twins to survive and thrive after separation surgery in 1955.
DBL, this show is amazing.
There's a lot going on down here.
I would have been part of the Mile High Club.
Yeah.
So on point.
But I want to have a conversation about what's happening now.
So I just wanted to bring up something really interesting. Gabriel Garcia said, am I saying that right? Is the man Gabriel?
Yes.
I always get that wrong with Gabrielle, but it's Gabriel. They sure shouldn't just be told to shut up and dribble. The first thing I thought this sounded to me was, one, the Laura Ingraham just shut up and dribble, as if they have no voice as citizenry in this world that they're seeing. And the second is, I never understood this. How is Black Lives Matter political? Like, I know it went in a million ways of like, all lives are this, but just the statement itself. Like, Mitt Romney was the only Republican senator to say it out loud. Like, I find that so weird.
It's not weird, it's by design.
Yeah.
Because if you can put certain things such as social justice, equal justice into a political realm, then it becomes debatable.
Right.
So you want to be able to debate the idea or the premise of Black Lives Matter. But when
How
you make
can you?
because if it's political, you
Yeah.
can say, well, according to my beliefs and my political ideology, I don't agree with how this is happening for blah blah blah, or they're
see.
taking away. But you can't it can't be social because then you're overtly racist. If it's political, you can be
covertly racist. It's just odd to me. I remember seeing Mitt Romney walking in the march, and someone said, "Why are you doing this?" And he just looked up and he goes, "Because Black Lives Matter."
But
I was like,
my question, and this would be to your point, Tori, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Like with the pink for the breast cancer, do people stop watching because of that?
I totally agree with you.
Is
right?
that
Is
is that
the
political?
Susan G. Komen breast cancer thing? That's a great point.
I'm just.
Like even when I get up, hey, what's up?
Al and I were just saying we're shocked by this next story. Welcome back. Is this the beginning of the end of retail shopping? Because on Sunday, Bed Bath & Beyond filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy after struggling for years. So this has been sort of expected since January, when the company reported not enough cash was coming in after a very bad holiday season. So what about those coupons? You know, the ones that you all have a gazillion of? I'm afraid to say you only have today and tomorrow to use them. So go. What do we think about this? Are you going to miss Bed Bath & Beyond? When was the last time y'all were in a Bed Bath & Beyond?
I remember it very clearly
Tell me.
because
Take us there.
it was last Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving last year. My mom was in town and we needed matching plates for 30. And I was like trying to figure out. So I went to Bed Bath & Beyond because that seemed like the natural place to go. I did find them, but it wasn't the Bed Bath & Beyond of my younger years. Yeah, it wasn't.
What do you mean?
It felt like almost like a discount shop.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. There weren't like multiples
It was
of a lot of
sparse,
things.
right? And there was like, when I walked in, there was like tumbleweeds, and it was weird. I know I'm exaggerating, but it was like
I'm
no
sad.
one was there. I'm very sad. What do you think about this?
But so everyone's going through their cards and they're like, oh, expired. That one's expired. do I have any that are up to
Didn't they
date?
start to honor the expired ones?
That's how long it's been since I've actually been. I get my espresso because it's not Nespresso, it's like a discount brand. So I get them at Bed Bath & Beyond. No more. There's going to be a lot of Spirit Halloween stores popping up this fall.
So right. Spirit and Beyond. They are not the only retailer having problems, though. Target has announced they're closing 3 stores in D.C., Philadelphia, and Minneapolis. And while that might not seem like a lot, check out this video of a Target in San Francisco. They have every single item locked up. Looting has become a major factor in
Like a
something
Target
like this.
museum.
It is. But what goes through your head when you see a store like this? Like, would you even? I can never find someone. It's very awkward to be like, can you help me get some tampons? Like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying?
Not more weird than seeing it on national
Well,
television.
it's something that women go through. Women go through it, so it's super awkward.
I don't know if it's awkward. I just think it's the end of an era. I think that this is what we all asked for in a way. people sit on their phone and they say, it's so easy, Amazon, it's here the next day, and people slowly ease their way out of any kind of going out to shop. And it might seem like a little thing, but personally, I like going out to shop. I like kind of getting a coffee and taking my time and being around human beings. I know that a lot of people love this sterile world that we're staring into, and don't worry, guys, you're going to have it in 1 second. Everything will be at home. Somebody will drop it off at your door. They'll leave your food on the floor like you guys like so much, and we'll see how this new world will work. I miss Target. I miss kind of running into people and being like, oh, look how much my kid has grown. Oh, how's your husband? I kind of enjoyed human interaction, and that's slowly going away with these stores because Target, let's be honest, is the mall for 40-year-olds.
Listen, don't play that card too, because I love Target, but my kids think Target is Disneyland. They're like, can we go to Target? They're like, can we please go to Target? Like my mom and dad, their grandparents send them like money, so they're like, I have $5, and then Grandma gave me $5. Now I have $10. Let's go to Target, and I teach them like math. Like, so if you guys put your money together, you could get this bigger toy. So now they're just like, please, can we go to Target on this Friday? I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. And just so you know, Target's not going out of business. They're losing a few stores. We're talking hypothetically,
Those are major
of course.
cities, though.
That's true. My mom wouldn't go until we called it Target. Now she goes all the time. Coming up on DBL, our interview with sisters who have an inseparable bond after being separated as conjoined twins in the 50s.
Alfalfa is a popular feed for livestock, like cows. It's also one of the most water-intensive crops to grow, which is why Saudi Arabia, home to the world's largest desert, banned growing it domestically. One verified viewer asked us whether, to meet demand, Saudi Arabia is using water resources in drought-stricken Arizona and California to grow it. Other people on social media claim the alfalfa is then shipped overseas.
They use this alfalfa to feed their cattle.
So, let's verify. Does a Saudi Arabian company use water from Arizona and California to grow crops? These are our sources. In 2014, the Saudi Arabian company Al-Mari purchased about 16 square miles of land 2 hours west of Phoenix. The property comes with unrestricted access to groundwater under Arizona law.
This was appealing to the Saudis as well, to go exactly there, where they're not being charged for the water they extract because there's no measuring of it.
Al-Mari says it uses the land to grow alfalfa hay for cows in Saudi Arabia. In 2016, the company expanded operations, buying an additional 2 square miles in California near the Arizona border. So, yes, a Saudi Arabian company does use water from Arizona and California to grow alfalfa, and there's nothing illegal about it. The USDA estimates foreign investors have a stake in about 5% of the nation's agricultural land. Similarly, many American agriculture companies invest in farms in other countries to grow produce, like Mexico, where tomatoes, berries, and avocados are grown for the U.S. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. Linda Wilson and Lillian Hollins are sisters with a relationship that's a little closer than you might expect. Earlier, we spoke with them about the incredible life they've shared together. Take a look.
I'm Linda. I'm Lillian. And what makes us unique?
In 1955, Linda and Lillian were born in Indianola, Mississippi as conjoined twins. 5 weeks later, for the first time in history, they were both successfully separated.
Allegedly, we're the first set of conjoined twins to be separated and both live and thrive.
Throughout their childhood, their father, an elementary school principal, encouraged a strict education above all.
We had a great childhood as far as family was concerned. You know, we were a large family. It was 11, well, at the time, it was 9 of us at the time. The first time we were apart was when we went to college. We actually lived in different dorms.
Following their passion, they both became teachers.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher even before I started school, I think.
And they were both able to have children, despite doctors saying they could not.
I had my first child right before I turned 20. So after I had mine, we knew definitely, yeah, we could have some children.
67 years later, now both retired and with grandchildren, they are still holding each other's hand every time they are together.
It's that bond that we have, and when we hold hands, we look at each other, and we just start laughing.
And they are never letting go.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. Here to tell us about their lives as separated conjoined twins. Please welcome to the show Linda Wilson and Lillian Hall.
Yes! Welcome, Queens. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you.
Yes. So I want to go.
They're so in sync, I know.
I want to go right to the start. Linda, what was your childhood like with Lillian? And were you both treated differently by other people?
We had a pretty normal childhood. We got along really well with our siblings, our classmates, and people in the community. I think the only way we could say we were probably treated differently was when we were in elementary school. Back then, the teachers would take us to the back of the room and, raise our dresses, and they would other people come in and look at our scarves.
They raised your dresses?
No.
And looked at our scars, and they were in awe. We have no navel, so that was something that was unique.
Wow, that's disgusting.
And in the end, it was pretty traumatic. It was a traumatic experience.
Well, yes.
We think that's why we never sought the limelight, because if it meant pulling up your dress.
Oh my goodness.
So we went home and told Mom about it, and of course, she was a mom. She went out there and took care of it.
Good for her.
Never had to raise our dresses again.
Here's one that blows my mind, but I can completely understand it. Linda, you have said that you have felt a pain in your stomach when your sister was going through a traumatic event. When is the time you felt it the most? Maybe you continue to, and what does it actually feel like?
Yes. I remember she was pregnant, and one day I came home from school because we were both teachers. I came home from school, and my husband and I, we were living in Oklahoma City at the time, and I just started feeling this pain in my stomach, and I knew I wasn't sick, but I just kept feeling it more and more, and eventually I told my husband, I said, I think Da's having a miscarriage, because of the pain I was feeling. Now, my pain probably was only a portion of what she was feeling at the time. Wow. But within 10 minutes, I got a call from her husband, and he told me she just lost the baby.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that is remarkable.
Wow, that's
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. You have about 30 seconds here, but I want to get to this so much. I want to talk about holding hands, because I'm guessing you're doing it right now. There you are. What does that mean to you guys? That's a special connection. Tell me about holding hands for you.
We think we did it in the womb, and that it simply carried over, and that we just hold hands whenever we're together having a good time, or if we're going through something and we need to comfort each other, we tend to hold hands. It's not something we do around people, but when it's the two of us, together alone, and that's when we tend to hold hands and just laugh and talk and look at each other and share whatever's going on at that time.
That is so
What a beautiful story about love
You
and
guys
connection.
make the world a better place.
Honestly, I'm going to go call my sisters now after the show. Linda and Lillian, it's been so amazing to meet you and hear about this wonderful bond that you both have. Thank you so much for stopping by DBL.
You guys are great.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Let's verify. Can breastfeeding lower a woman's risk for breast cancer? Our sources include Dr. Karen Knutson, the head of the American Cancer Society, nurse practitioner Lori Plummer with the Helen Carlos High Risk Breast Clinic at Piedmont Hospital, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Breastfeeding does, in fact, lower breast cancer risk.
Turns out there is a lot of research to back up how breastfeeding can reduce a woman's risk for certain types of cancers, including breast cancer. And while there's no absolute time period for how long you must breastfeed to get the benefit, experts say the longer the time, the greater the protection.
There's been a number of studies that have shown for every 12 months a woman breastfeeds, she can lower her risk of breast cancer by 4%.
That can mean 12 consecutive months of breastfeeding with one child, or over several children. The benefit even more significant in some of the more aggressive types of breast cancer.
Some studies have shown up to a 20% risk reduction for these aggressive estrogen receptor negative breast cancers, including triple negative breast cancer.
Researchers believe it comes down to the hormonal changes happening with lactation. Ultimately, that process reduces the woman's lifetime exposure to certain hormones, which are linked to an increased risk of breast and ovarian cancer. The loss of breast tissue when breastfeeding could also play a role.
Losing some cells during that process, which may have started on their journey toward becoming cancerous, may be lost in that process. So you're essentially losing precancerous cells during that time.
So yes, it's true, breastfeeding not only benefits babies, it also can lower a woman's breast cancer risk. And the longer you breastfeed, the more protection you potentially gain.
This Friday on DBL, a jaw-dropping episode celebrating comeback stories that will leave you inspired and amazed, from a convicted man serving a life sentence in prison to becoming a Harvard professor, and a remarkable story of a woman who turns a near-fatal accident into success as a Silicon Valley CEO. They will join us live, plus other incredible stories of resilience and triumph you have to see to believe. This Friday, only on DBL.
Narcan, the life-saving drug that reverses the effects of an opioid overdose, is top of mind for many these days. The FDA approved it for over-the-counter use a few weeks ago, and people have questions about it. One viewer texted us wanting to know, does Narcan have an expiration date? We went to the FDA's drug database to verify. The short answer is yes, Narcan does have an expiration date. Narcan is a brand of a drug called naloxone hydrochloride. Many companies make naloxone nasal sprays, though Narcan is the only one that will soon be available over the counter. For most naloxone sprays, including brands like Cloxado and generic options, the shelf life is 2 years, but Narcan lasts a lot longer. In 2020, the FDA extended Narcan's shelf life to 3 years, meaning you can carry it for longer without needing a new dose. The company that makes it said yesterday it should be available in stores and online this summer and could cost around $50. At the end of the day, just make sure to check the expiration date. This one right here is expired back in 2021, so it's no good. If you or someone you know is struggling with substance abuse or mental health, call 988 or the helpline on your screen.
Welcome back. If you suffer from joint pain, there are certain foods that could help. It's time for some joint and muscle support brought to you by Omega XL. Doctors say these foods, adding these foods to your diet can help reduce pain. First, omega-3 fatty acids like tuna, salmon, trout. Next up, nuts and seeds. And third, brassica veggies like arugula, kale, and broccoli. Omega XL has improved the lives of millions of consumers, supported by 30 years of clinical research. Omega XL's powerful and proven benefits have transformed the lives of athletes, celebrities, and dedicated daily users. So call 1-800-813-6801 or visit omegaxl.com for more information. Okay, real quick, around the horn, if you had a perfect day, no one's there, you could sip your coffee and go shopping online at Target or at Target, which would you do?
At.
Online.
I think I'd be there.
I'd be there for sure.
Good ending. Bye, guys.